Hey, what's up, you guys? This is Mr. Actor 316 back on YouTube. I'm here to make a very short video on a book that I just read recently. You all know it. It's the New York's best-selling book. It's known as Chris Jericho Undisputed: How to Become the World Champion in 1,372 Easy Steps. By the way, just like I said last time, 1,372 is the number of matches he has attended or has faced, the number of matches he has had until he became the undisputed champion, which is very unique. Just shows how prestige and how honorable it is to finally get a world title in your career. Anyways, you had to say the front cover is like legitimate. It's like legit. Chris Jericho, great shape of his life, huh? He looks really good. I mean, I asked people, I showed this book to many people, and I asked them, how old do you think he is? People would often say 33, 34, maybe even 38. And then when I tell them that he's actually 40 years old, they get shocked. See, that's how Chris Jericho is so unique. Here's a side view of the book. It says right here on the back, it says, Vince looked me in the eyes and said, "What is your problem?" "I'm sorry, I don't understand," I reply, and blah blah blah. It keeps going on. I'm sorry, I don't want to read the whole thing. It's from Undisputed. Here's some notes. You got funny, insightful, and compulsively readable from Publishers Weekly. And you also got a clever told, fun-filled story, but it's really more than that. It's a story of a man living out his dreams from ChicagoSports.com. Then you also got the best book centered around a wrestler I've ever read from Jerry Green, Orlando Sentinel. And then you also got funny, earthy, and outrageous from Tampa Tribune. And last but not least, brash, compulsively readable, as brazen as a body slam from Kirkus Reviews. Just like how these all said, this is a very funny, insightful, a readable story about a man living out his own dreams. It's a great book. It's 425 pages. Not a lot of pages compared to some of the biggest books in the WWE, like Mick Foley's books. I believe this is more than a Lion's Tale. But this is Chris Jericho's second book. It doesn't talk about his WCW career. First of all, it starts off with Mick Foley's foreword to Chris Jericho, and then also a bonus foreword from Zack Ryder. Yeah, I know, Zack Ryder. And then here's some table of contents. It all started off from Chris Jericho leaving from the WCW, coming to the WWE with his big entrance, and all the adventure starts from there. It talks like 50% about WWE and his career, and probably 40% about his Fozzy career, and the rest about his friends, family, and all about his personal life. It's a very good book. I highly recommend it. And the one thing that shocked me the most was there's actually a separate chapter about Chris Benoit. It talks about Chris Benoit's death. Chris Jericho finding out about Chris Benoit's murder/suicide attempt on June 25th, 2007. It was a very sad thing, and Chris Jericho as a friend had to tell the whole entire world that Chris Benoit was a great man. He would never do such a thing, and it was obvious that Benoit had like brain damage over the past years in his career in the WWE, and combining that brain damage to the use of steroids he took, and the stress that he has had over the past couple of weeks. I mean, come on, Chris Benoit has suffered the most stress in his life since 1999 till the day he died. I mean, you had Owen Hart, you had the British Bulldog, Brian Pillman, who else? Big Bossman, Eddie Guerrero, all the other guys from WCW and Japan Wrestling. Like, they all passed away, and his closest friends, they all died, and it's just so sad for Chris Benoit. Uh, so yeah, Chris Jericho talks really good detail about that in about 15 pages, and he also talks about his wife and his children. And very insightful stories and all the stuff, and you name it. Talks about him going to jail and everything. All the information you could think of are in here, and it talks about some of his matches as well, like his matches with Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania, and his match with John Cena, Triple H, The Rock, many more, and like it's very insightful information. You can learn a lot from this guy right here. I'm a huge fan of this book, and I'm a huge fan of his. I know it took me a long time to read this. It actually took me 2 weeks. It would normally take me about a week, but this one took me 2 weeks because I was sick, and I was really busy, so I couldn't read the whole thing so quickly. But I finally read the whole thing, and it's a really great. There's a lot of pictures as well for those of you who hate reading and like pictures. They show pictures of him and Fozzy, and like him and his wife and his children. By the way, his wife was hot. And yeah, so there's a lot of great pictures, a lot of great stuff you can learn from this man right here. This guy should be in the Hall of Fame. And it ends, I have to say, the book ends for right when he returned to the WWE in 2007. So, great book. I highly recommend it, you guys. I know a lot of people don't read here in these days, but you will learn a lot from this book, and you could picture everything this guy's saying. By the way, the co-authors, Peter Thomas Fornatelli, whatever his name is. By the way, he even wrote in his acknowledgement that basically Chris Jericho wrote the whole thing. He wrote the whole thing. Just Peter just had to like edit a little bit of it, and just that's about it. So basically, this was exactly from the same words of Chris Jericho, and I could tell it was him speaking. And by the way, this wouldn't be for kids, I should say, because there's like thousands of random sexual slurs and swears and all that stuff. So yeah, if you're 13 and up, you should go ahead and get it. If you're only 13 and under or 12 and under, go and ask your parents about it. Alright, so that's basically it, guys. This is Chris Jericho Undisputed, how to become world champion in 1,372 easy steps. And this is Mr. Outer at 316 telling you guys to get this book right now in your local bookstores, whether it's Borders or anywhere like that. Alright, and that's all for now, guys. See you guys next time. Peace.